Hello everyone, this is Kurode, giving you a shoutcast between Lucifron and NaNi, this time on Shakuras Plateau. I had casted one of the games earlier on Metalopolis, and the game was just so interesting. I tried to find out if it was a best of 3 series or what was happening, and it is a series, so NaNi is now spawning as the green Protoss player over here at the 7 o'clock location of Shakuras Plateau. Meanwhile, we have Lucifron spawning here as the yellow Terran player. Now, a lot of players have been confused, or a lot of watchers have been confused in terms of what I say an ally spawn here on Shakuras Plateau. When I say your opponent cannot spawn in the ally position, what I mean is they cannot spawn directly north or south of you. So if you spawn here, your opponent cannot spawn across this gap here. It will always be a left and right spawning location, so there is no need to scout out this particular location. Now, taking a look at the game, NaNi is down over here on the south side, will be able to start training up more and more probes, and should be going for a 13 gateway. Taking a look at Lucifron now lowering that supply depot, perhaps should be getting a barracks in just a moment, and not wandering too far out with that SCV. Wants to make sure that if a probe does try to come in and do some harassment, that an SCV will be able to get there and act as a little bit of support. SCV now on the way out, trying to do some scouting as well. We'll see what's going to be happening as that SCV will be making its way out. And now the probe coming in from this direction, will they be able to spot each other is a key question. No, both you players just barely outside of sight range on each other, and will not be able to see that they are both trying to scout at the same exact time. We do see an assimilator and a refinery coming in from both players. That means that we will not be going for any 14 racks play, and that also means that we should be getting a cybernetics core in just a moment, as that second pylon now currently being warped in as well. Upgrading to an orbital command as a marine now being trained. The marine will not be able to be trained just in time for this probe, so this probe will be able to get some sight into the base. Taking a look around on the inside so far, trying to see as much information as it can. The probe realizes that the marine will be coming out in just a moment and decides to get the heck out of there. We do see a second assimilator now being placed down on the Vespene geyser over here. So it is going to be double geysers now, as that SCV just still wandering around so far. The cybernetics core will allow for stalkers to be trained in just a moment. But it looks as though NaNi will be trying to chrono boost either that warp gate or that first stalker, not quite sure yet. Now getting that warp gate research and now chrono boosting that stalker. So that stalker will be coming out in just a moment, as some probes now being transferred over here to that one assimilator. We do see one marine on that ramp trying to make sure that that probe is unable to get back up to that top side. And now we are training more marauders and getting stim pack, and now also getting a second barracks as well. So Lucifron maybe going for mass marauders depending on this particular build. There is also an SCV still hanging out over on this side, and if he's able to place down some bunkers here or even get a factory down here for quite some time, he may be able to get a lot of Hellion harassment, and that would actually be a kind of a cute play, a proxy factory in order to get some Hellions into there. We do see a stalker currently looking to see if there's any proxy buildings whatsoever, and now we also see a Stargate being placed down. NaNi going for Void Rays perhaps, or even Phoenixes, may become fairly successful unless Lucifron gets a reactor on this barracks. If he does not get a reactor, he is going to fall quickly behind. And this is one of those things that you got to be careful against a Protoss player. We do see that the probe was able to gain sight on this SCV. SCV will not be able to escape, trying to run away, taking some particle disruptor beams from that stalker, and down it goes. Back over here, we currently have 3 marauders and 1 marine. The reactor does take 50 units of time to build, so if you do not plan on training up that many marines, then it is just better to just build the marines normally instead of trying to go for that reactor, as currently at this time Lucifron could have already trained up 2 additional marines, but after you train up 4 marines off of that reactor, it does start to pay for itself time-wise. Lucifron now going for command center over here on the low ground, in addition to making sure that these backdoor rocks are not being destroyed. Back over here, that Stargate now training up a Void Ray, so 1 Void Ray currently will be out in just a moment, as we are now getting an additional gateway. So not all Lucifron would see if he tried to scanner sweep at this time is this 2-gate positioning here. Would not see the Void Rays, would not see that additional 3rd gateway. I am curious as to how exactly NaNi will be able to move out. There are some sentries moving out as well, and a Void Ray and 1 probe making its way out across the map. There are a couple marauders. More marines need to be trained. Perhaps that combat shield needs to be researched as well. Currently getting that concussive shell, and now going for another barracks. So this is going to be move into 3 racks play off of 1 gas. And now, as Lucifron will be able to transfer some more SCVs over here to this low ground, he will be able to start macroing up a lot of Marines very, very easily. So this is what Marines and Marauders, no upgrade to an orbital command, now transferring 9 SCVs off that main mineral patch, and will be able to mine out much more efficiently as now the Void Ray is in the air. Void Ray looking to deal some damage. Marines now trying to get underneath that Void Ray, but that Void Ray does have a very, very long range of attack, range of 6, and now may be able to fully charge up here on this high ground. Marines trying to come back around. The Void Ray now taking some points of damage, needs to back off once again, as there are now currently 2 Void Rays in the air, and this is not going to be looking good at all. There are also a couple sentries here, and now that Void Ray needs to back off, taking some damage there, but we do have 2 Void Rays in the air. That Void Ray is still trying to test the waters, moving back and forth as another Void Ray currently being trained. Sentry is now moving down, and if he's able to get a force field onto this ramp, he would just be able to simply clean up this location here. So that Void Ray needs to gain sight. Marines still wandering back and forth, and if those sentries are able to drop that force field down, that would be absolutely critical. There we go, and now these Void Rays are going to be able to clean up so much damage here. Just fully charging on those Void Rays, needs to get some additional force fields there, so these Void Rays are going to be able to clean up many of those Marauders. Zealots, however, should be going after some of those SCVs. Once again, 2 Void Rays in the air doing their job, just cleaning up many of those Marauders. The Marauders have been taken down and now trying to be microed back away. We do have a couple sentries there, 1 Zealot getting focused down here, and now NaNi not doing too great of a job there. I believe he could have been much more successful if he had just placed down a couple more force fields and staying in this game. And now Void Ray is trying to take down the orbital command. Orbital command taking a lot of damage from those Void Rays. Void Rays dealing I believe 16 damage per attack. Oh, but the Marines getting underneath NaNi's Void Rays, and down they go. More units currently being warped in as well. Marauders now trying to move back once again. Sentries may be able to get off a force field or 2. There we go. Picking off many of those units in transition. Once again, down it goes. And now those Void Rays need to back off, stay out of combat range. Those Marines only have a range of 5 compared to a range of 6 on those Void Rays. So the Void Ray could have dealt some form of damage as well, as that Void Ray once again goes to the air and takes down this barracks up on that high ground. Marines trying to get underneath it once again. We do have sentries on that low ground. Those sentries would be able to deal a fair amount of damage once they get back onto that low ground. One of the interesting things is it is very difficult to see a sentry shooting up into a higher level area. Those sentries were actually firing against those Marines, but those Marines, you really could not see it just because of the positioning of this ground here. We now see a missile turret currently trying to be placed down. That missile turret will quickly get taken down, or the SCV trying to build it. So down it goes, also taking down that 1 unit. And now that Void Ray trying to back off once again. Marines and sentries trying to fight back and forth once again. We do have another Nexus now currently being warped in over here as the expansion currently coming into play. And now NaNi, even though he was a little bit sloppy in this early portion of this game, trying to take down many of those Marauders and those Marines, it looks as though he may be successful. Stalkers now shooting up onto that high ground, and now NaNi just trying to take down that last missile turret, will not be able to. Sentries just out of combat range. Stalkers are just out of combat range as well, as those sentries could just throw up a Guardian Shield and deal a lot of damage pretty effectively. Stalker almost walking up that ramp straight up into his doom there, as we now just have 1 Void Ray in the air. More Stalkers, Void Rays army-wise, both sides, fairly even. NaNi is at 21-25 though, and there are some bunkers here, and now in comes that Guardian Shield, in come those force fields, and those Marauders trying to fight back. Stalkers doing a great job cleaning up many of those units here, as there is now currently 1 Void Ray in the air. The Void Ray, however, not dealing any damage. Bunker now quickly getting taken down as well. Both sides fighting back and forth. More force field play coming in, so NaNi doing a great job simply cutting off much of that army. And now NaNi, even though he has a smaller army at this stage, has more units that can currently engage. Stalkers now once again trying to engage. More Marines getting caught out of position once again. And now this Void Ray just sitting in a very should probably back off just a little bit, otherwise those Marines are going to be able to get underneath it once again and now try to re-engage. Another scanner sweep revealing more units are being pushed, or now being warped in over here off this proxy pylon. And now as Zealots and Stalkers and Sentries now try to move in once again, will it be effective enough? SCVs now coming off the mineral line. No force field on that ramp. There we go. Force fields there. Marauders trying to fight back. Zealots and now just unable to deal any damage whatsoever because those force fields are in their way. And now 1 Void Ray in the air with no Marines underneath. Marines now quickly stimming, coming down that ramp there. And now we have an army of Sentries and Stalkers Taking a look at the income, we're currently sitting on 34 harvesters for NaNi. Lucifron sitting on 27, and now Lucifron is still trying to keep up on his macro, trying to train up more Marines, and now trying to take down, you can see, trying to save this one orbital command. Marines and Marauders trying to come back, however, only some of those Marines are able to engage right now. SCV's getting caught on the wrong side once again, more units getting picked off, and now these things are not looking good. Stalkers should be able to finish off this one orbital command here as more sentries and Stalkers are still being warped in. Currently, all of this off of 4 gateways so far. Nothing has been trained out of that Stargate for quite some time, and now it looks as though NaNi is moving into a 6-gate push. Zealots here on that low ground, those Zealots really are not helping him all that much because of those force fields. They are absorbing some of that damage by those Marauders. But besides that, they're not really dealing that much damage, and now we're trying to walk up this ramp once again, trying to get some force fields. There's that Guardian Shield doing a great job protecting a lot of that damage so far, and if we can get a force field on that ramp to try to deny any additional reinforcements, there we go. There's that force field. Marines and Marauders trying to come back in. Another force field coming in, and now only Marines are going to be able to fight as those Marauders on that backside are unable to deal any damage once again. And now the Stalkers can just come into this location here and try to put pressure onto the factory and some of these additional buildings. There is 1 starport, 1 factory down, and a lot of barracks, 3 tech labs, 1 reactor, as more units still being warped in. Economically speaking, we can see more probes still being trained up by NaNi, and NaNi now trying to move into a strong economic game. The siege is lasting very long, and NaNi not transitioning into another style of play. He's just trying to press his advantage. The longer this goes, though, the more Lucifron will be able to tech up, and now this fighting will happen once again. Marines and Marauders once again re-engaging, and now there we go with that force field in play. Marines and Marauders will not be able to deal any damage. The factory will get taken down, and now Marauders and Marines trying to come back over in this direction. Another force field cutting off many of those reinforcements once again. More sentries now trying to come in, and those Marauders are just currently stuck there. Stalkers could take down this one orbital command fairly easily, as those Marauders are once again trying to engage. Zealots do not have Zealot charge, so they are unable to deal that much damage. Once again, another force field, brilliantly done by NaNi. NaNi just trying to press his advantage continuously and able to do so pretty effectively so far, as those Stalkers are now going to be able to take down this last orbital command here, and I believe Lucifron will be forced to say GG as this expansion goes down. He will fall behind economically very, very quickly as Marauders and Marines trying to give chase down over here. Couple sentries now taking down Stalkers, now once again trying to re-engage. Another force field coming in, blocking off many of those reinforcements, and now Medevac picking up those units, trying to drop them down once again. Stalkers, just too many Stalkers now trying to move off. Medevac now taken down. Wow. As those long-distance mining now underway, you can take a look at the main mineral patches here. Not too many harvesters for Lucifron. Lucifron now down to 16, and now a war of attrition will just go in favor of NaNi, as NaNi is able to lose 1 for 1 fairly effectively and still have an economic lead at 700 minerals every game minute. Marauder now quickly getting stuck up over there. A couple Marauders trying to fight back here, but the Stalkers should be able to finish this off fairly easily, as all those Marauders are in the red or in the orange. Down they go. And now Lucifron, now once again only down to a 350 mineral army. More Zealots now coming in, and Lucifron says GG. So NaNi doing a very heavy push early in this game and was successful with this. The only suggestion I would have given to Lucifron is I believe Marauders here on this high ground would have been able to take down this one pylon. I believe the range is just enough, and as soon as those Void Rays were gone, and there are no air units in order to offer sight, he could have stopped this harassment. The early probe was taken down pretty early, so yeah, just be careful about that. If you are within range of the pylon, if you are getting 4-gate rushed, be careful and try to take down this pylon. NaNi only had 1 pylon and no backup pylon anywhere on this side of the map. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between Lucifron and NaNi here on Shakuras Plateau. Stay tuned for Game 3.